it's Marianne, and welcome to day 2 of 12 Days of Plantmas. Today, let's talk about 2 underrated plant varieties that deserves more hype. If you've been along with me on my plant journey this year, you know that I'm very much a pothos girl. I have several varieties in my collection, and I love the plant so much that I wrote an entire reference guidebook on it. And I'm so glad that pothos is finally getting the recognition and hype it deserves. But I also thought that there's at least 2 more underrated plant varieties that deserve the equal hype because just like pothos plants, they're very accessible, they're great for beginners, and they also have a lot more varieties than people are aware of. And those are the Tradescantia plants and the Syngonium plants. So the first plant that I want to talk about is the Tradescantia plants. And I think Tradescantia plants got a bad rap in the plant community because of its common name, which a lot of people found offensive or inappropriate. And to be honest, for me, that's probably the reason I stayed away from this plant variety because of its common name. But now that I think about it, it's kind of foolish to blame the plant for the common name it has because it did not give itself the common name. So I just stick to the scientific name it has, which is the Tradescantia, and I just call it by that name. And I know other people try to give it another common name like Wandering Dude, but I also don't like to genderize my plants, even though I consider a lot of my plants as females. I used to do that. Now I'm trying to stay away from that because I also don't think that's appropriate. Plants don't have genders for the most part. I know the science behind it. There's like female and male parts when it comes to cross pollination, but in general, plants do not have gender identity. So I just don't assign genders to them. But okay, I digress. With the Tradescantia plants, I just stick to its scientific name, which I think is a beautiful name, Tradescantia. The Tradescantia comes in many varieties, but I think the most popular one is the Tradescantia zebrina, which has the silver variegation on top and it has a purple underside. And I was able to get my hands on a large pot of Tradescantia zebrina, but at that time I wasn't really into the plant, so I ended up selling it. But recently, I've been really into Tradescantia, especially the Tradescantia that has pink variegation in them because I love pink plants. I currently have about 4 Tradescantia varieties. These are mostly Tradescantia varieties that has pink variegation in them, and I think Tradescantia that has pink variegation in them are one of the prettiest pink plants. First one that I've got was actually from a subscriber, Elizabeth, which is this one. This is the Tradescantia spacathea. I'm not really sure how to pronounce the complete scientific name of this one, but I love this one because it does have that pink variegation on it. And this is also very easy to grow. When I got it, it was a very small cutting, but it grows quite fast. And I also have the Tradescantia nanook in my sites for the very long time, but it was kind of hard to find until I attended a plant swap where I was able to get a cutting of the Tradescantia nanook. And this is my cutting of the Tradescantia nanook. This one started out as one small cutting as well. The great thing about the Tradescantia is it grows so fast and also propagate really fast. So I have this one in Leica. You can see how much root it has grown in such a short period of time. So if you want a plant that is fast growing, that roots fast and propagates fast, definitely check out the Tradescantia plant. And another Tradescantia that I got from the plant swap is this Tradescantia fluminensis tricolor pink. This looks very much similar to the Calisa repens. I don't know if it's actually the same, but Calisa repens is a cousin of the Tradescantia. But this, when I got it at a plant swap, the person that I traded it with labeled it as a Tradescantia fluminensis tricolor. And this one is also a very much fast grower because this one I wasn't even sure it would survive, but now it has lots of new leaves and I can't wait to be able to propagate this too and make it into a much larger plant. And this one is the Tradescantia fluminensis bianca. This one is supposed to have a lot of white variegated leaves on it, but so far I'm not really seeing any. There's probably like leaves that has streaks of white and pink in them, but so far it's a lot of green leaves and it has a bit of a purple underside, but not quite, just at a certain angle of the light. But this one also grew really fast. When I bought this off Etsy, it was not in a good shape. I thought I was gonna lose it, but I just put it in soil, and next thing I knew, the next time I noticed it, it was already growing so much leaves. And I'm gonna show you how to propagate this Tradescantia. And the next one is Syngonium, kind of like the Tradescantia. All you need is a small plant or even a cutting of it, and as long as you keep propagating from it, you'll have a large plant in no time because they are such fast propagators and such fast growers. And the very first one that I got was actually also a cutting from a plant swap, which is this pink Syngonium, and it's kind of flopping because it needs support already. It has grown so much. And this one, the leaves started as pink color and then they eventually fade into this green, but the veins still retain that pink color in them. And this is probably one of the most common Syngoniums that you can find in garden centers. So this one is very much accessible. The next Syngonium that I got is also of a pink variety. This one is the Syngonium Pink Splash. You could probably see a theme here as well. I like pink plants, and the reason that I was able to discover the Tradescantia and the Syngonium plants is because of their beautiful pink varieties. And this one I got from the plant here in Chicago. If you haven't watched it yet, go check out my Chicago plant tour and plant haul to see where I got this. And this one also started out as a really small plant. It probably had one or two leaves in it, and I have propagated it since. This was a really tall plant and I wanted to fit it in my IKEA greenhouse, so I cut it off and stuck it in the soil, and now it has been growing. It formed its new roots, and this one as well is also regrowing some of its new leaves. And this one is supposed to fade into green over time, like this leaf as well, and just have that splashes of pink in it, hence the name Pink Splash. But so far I haven't really seen it happen yet. All the leaves are still very much pink. They do fade into a lighter pink over time, but they still haven't turned into this green leaf right here. This one is one of the original leaves of the plant when I first got it, but so far all the leaves have remained really pink. I do give it a lot of bright light, so maybe that's the reason that it has been retaining its pink color for a lot longer time. So if you have a pink splash Syngonium and you want to keep the leaves pink for a much longer time, then do give it a lot of light. And last but not the least is my Syngonium White Splash or Syngonium Albo. I got this when I bought plants from Thailand, but this one is actually more available now in the US. I've seen it pop up a lot at Etsy for, I mean, the prices are still a little bit high. I think I saw a cutting go for $30 to $50, but it's still cheaper than other uncommon or rare plants being sold on Etsy. And I think this one is just as beautiful as those other rare or uncommon plants being sold at the market today. And this one's a fast grower, so even if you just get a small cutting, like I said, it would grow really fast. It would form roots really quickly. As you can see over here, I have this one, it's like a, and you can see how much root it has grown. And this is also not very prone to root rot because all of the plants that I got from Thailand came with root rot except for this one. And it has grown 1, 2, 3 new leaves already. And for me, it is a fast grower even though it is very highly variegated plant. This one I haven't tried propagating yet, but as you can see with the roots already coming out at the bottom of the pot, I also have to transfer this into a much larger pot. Normally during this time I would refrain from doing any repotting, but since this one is a Leica, I think it's okay to put it in a much larger pot, which is what I'm about to do right now. Oh yes, those are two underrated plant varieties that I highly recommend, the Tradescantia plants and the Syngonium plants. There are so much more varieties of Tradescantia and Syngonium that's out there. I myself, I'm still trying to discover a lot of them, and I would happy to discover a lot more of them with you next year, because I think I'm going to keep my eye out for more Tradescantia and Syngonium varieties next year. But yeah, that's it for today's Plantmas, and I'll see you on day 3 of 12 Days of Plantmas. Bye!